Kathryn Jones here, and welcome to the KATHRYN Convo, where I take you behind the scenes, answer your questions, and take the liberty to talk about whatever I want. Once again today, if you've been following this journey, I'm in yet another different locale. So, when will I be in a consistent place? Nobody knows, but this week is not the week. But I'm actually really excited because I had such a cool week last week and made some really cool plans I want to talk to you guys about. So, fun fact about Kathryn, superpower, my greatest superpower / I think maybe my greatest crippling weakness is I'm a planner to the extreme. Here's my daily plan, literally have it all written out. I know exactly what I'm going to do. I know exactly what's going to happen next. And I'm pretty clear on exactly where I'm going to be from now till the end of March. That's just how my brain works. I'm okay, where am I going to be? How's this going to work? And I think because of that, I think it's it just eases my soul to know where I need to be when, and that there's a concrete plan. And so when a plan goes haywire, it's it's not the end of the world, but it's not my favorite thing. So I'm if I can do some preemptive measures to make sure that everything just goes according to the way that we want, then it's just better. Thus my obsession with automations and systems. It's a very real thing. And this even happened way before I even recognized what was going on, because I remember when we were little, my parents were so nice. I probably was 10 or 11 or 12, and they took us to Disneyland. And I just struggled to be present. And because of that, even though I was at Disneyland, I remember it was day 2 of 6 that we were going to be at Disneyland. I remember being sad on day 2 that the vacation was going to be over. Does that make sense? So I just really, really struggled to be present. And even into my late 20s where I am now, that is something that I have to consciously work on. And I know that this might seem a little bit, I don't even know it's helping or not, I'm not sure, but I have to plan time to be still. I have to plan time to be present. I know that's really dumb, but that is where we're at in our life right now. I just am I love it. I love to go and know where it is. So literally I have planned in my days time to just be still. Because if it's planned, then I'm fine with it. Anyway, that being said, welcome to this. It's scary. You didn't know we were going to go there today. Anyway, but because of that, sometimes, again, I can get way ahead of myself. So I started to catch myself thinking oh my gosh, it's September. And then immediately my mind was the year's over. What? Literally I'd be oh, it's the end of September. Basically it's next year. That doesn't even make any sense. There are a significant number of days left in 2019. And so with my brain, I have to catch myself, right? So I'm okay, September's over, the year's over it, because the year's over, I didn't hit my goals, and I basically should give up on them, and I guess I'll just start again 2020. Dear heaven. I'm so sorry. So gratefully, I catch myself thinking this way, and I recognize how absolutely ludicrous that thinking is, that I have a significant amount of time left to do what it is that I want to do. And so what's actually really cool, is anybody else out there like that, where you're end of September, basically botched it up till now, better to start again 2020, free for all, right? So whatever the goal is. Or sometimes for me, I'm I only made it this is what's crazy to me. My default is I only made it 70% of my goal. And this, we're talking it's September. And I'm thinking to myself, I only made it 70% of my goal. I guess I'm not going to make it. I guess we got to better start again in the new year. Well, the reason you made it 70% of the goal, Kathryn, is because only 70% of the year has passed. Oh my gosh. Anyway, so if you guys don't know, there's 90 days left in the year starting October 1st. That's the last 90 days. And you'll see a bunch of people are posting about it. The last 90 days or the last 100 days, it's happening. And there's all these challenges coming out where it's the Start Today thing with Rachel and Dave Hollis, and they have the last 90 days, or have you guys heard of the Hard 75? Have you guys heard that? That's intense. That's where it's you work out twice a day and you wake up at 4 in the morning, and it's just you just go hard in the paint for 75 days. Anyway, In effort to, like, this last week, I was like recognizing that my, again, superpower and weakness of planning was sabotaging me, because I was just like skipping the last 3 months in my mind. I like, maybe I'm like a crazy person. If anybody is like that, where you're like, it's almost October, the year's over, like Thanksgiving, Christmas, okay, it's over. Like, I sometimes I get there. And so I was recognizing this pattern myself, and I just said, no, Kathryn, that's not how it's gonna be. You have so much time to absolutely kill it for the rest of the year. And also interesting too that I am letting my goals revolve around January 1st. Like, why? Why do I have to pass or fail on January 1st? We're just learning a lot of great things about myself. Hope you're learning some things too. Anyway, so I decided to get really clear. And so all these goals that I wanted to accomplish in this year, I wrote them down and I did some analysis on like, okay, where am I at? Where have I succeeded in this, and where have I not succeeded in this? And I essentially, what I did for some goals in particular, I was like, okay, like what are the reasons that I have not gotten to the place where I wanted to already yet, right? Because there's some goals, killing it. Some goals, super exceeded. Some goals where I'm like, I'm just not there. And I'm just like, what is the deal? So in my mind, I write it down. I'm like, this doesn't make sense. Like, why am I so far behind on this particular goal? Because in my mind, I'm like, I'm working really hard. I am doing all of the things. And I'm like, okay, that's how I feel. I feel like I'm working hard, but let's look at the evidences. Like, what is actually going down? So I just got my computer, opened up my calendar, and I literally started to account for how much time and effort and whatever action had been put toward these particular goals where I wasn't actually seeing the results that I wanted. And I know this is going to be shocking, but the amount of effort and headspace and time that I had put toward those goals was like extremely minimal. So maybe I'd been spending like a lot of like, I gotta do this, I gotta do this, I gotta do this. But like my actual action of making it happen was not that present. And this actually reminds me of the story. So I served a mission for Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints in Los Angeles, California. And when I was there, my dad, love him, sent me this letter about one of our other friends who was serving a mission in Tacoma, Washington. And for whatever reason, in that like so they call them transfers. So like the periods of time that you're on your mission, they call it transfer. And transfers every 6 weeks. So every 6 weeks, sometimes they'll switch you around, send you to a new city, or send you with a new person or whatever. So our friend from home, from Denver, he was serving in Tacoma, Washington, and when he was there in that 6 week period, he was helping to baptize, like, it was like 32 people, which I had been out on my mission for like over a year, and I think I'd baptized like 4, and I was just like, what? I'm like, in 1 year, I was just like, this is crazy. I'm like busting my butt out here, and like, God, I'll do whatever you want me to do, but like in a year, I've only helped 4 people come closer to God, and like how I felt in terms of baptism. And this dude in like 6 weeks is helping 32 people be baptized. I'm like, what is the deal? So I'm like praying, I'm like studying, I'm trying to figure out like, just like logistically, how is that possible? And all of a sudden, I have one of the most amazing insights of my life that has served me to this very day. And I remember thinking this, okay, if this boy, his name's Jeff, if Jeff helped 32 people get baptized, that means that he had to have at least asked 32 people to be baptized. And all of a sudden I looked back on, again, same thing. I go back in my planner. It was like this like little written daily planner. I go back in my planner and I start to write down for the entirety of the time that I had been in Los Angeles, how many times I had asked somebody to be baptized. And it was like 7. Like 7 times. So 4 out of 7 said yes. So all of a sudden I was like, oh my gosh, this is just a number. It's just like a logistical numbers game. Granted, some elements of like wanting to change your life, be with Jesus. But I was just like, oh my gosh, if I want to help people to be baptized, if I want 32 people to be baptized, I have to ask at least 32 people to be baptized. And like, I know that sounds so simple, but it just like exploded my mind. So again, flash forward 6-7 years to today, when I'm like going through these goals, I'm like, why am I not hitting the goals that I want? I start and make some notes about the logistical time and effort that I'm spending on them. And I'm starting to see that it's not necessarily because I don't care enough. It's not because I'm not thinking about it enough. I'm just like, the actual actions of what I'm doing to make those goals happen are not matching what the actual goal is. It's a numbers game, right? And it reminds me, so I was just at Offermind, Stephen Larson's Offermind. Congratulations on maybe one of the coolest events I've ever been to in my life. And Myron Golden was speaking. If you don't know Myron, you're crazy and you should go follow him immediately. But he says, he said this, he goes, if you want to have the business that you are aching to have, he said, you have to switch a flip in your mind where the amount of offers that you make in a year, you now make in a month. The amount of offers you make in a month, you now make in a week. The amount of offers you make in a week, you now make in a day. He goes, that's where you hit this exponential growth, is when you start to take what you're doing in a year and you compress those actions and subsequently results down to a day. Anyway, because of that, I've made some like really cool 90-day plans and realize that these goals that I'm like so dedicated to hitting, like I need to make it happen. And so I'm like, okay, how much time can I put toward this? And I'm like, and then I realized that was the wrong answer. And I was like, well, how important is this to me? So I will create the time. Like I will create the time to do this. And I'm realizing that that time creation, it really is just priority. Like that's it. Like creating time, even though time is like a finite thing, it's not really. Creating time equals priorities. And like, where are you going to put your time? So like, is sleep more important than this? Is working out more important than this? Is whatever more important than this? And so I was just like, okay, half of my working hours, let's say on average I work 8 hours a day, I will devote half of my time, which is like out of this world insane compared to the amount of effort I was putting towards these goals prior to this last week. I will put literally half of my time towards making these goals happen every day until the end of the year. And so by half my time, I'm trying to find my phone so I could show you. Sorry, don't get the demonstration. I don't know where my phone is. Okay, I've given up. But so like literally, so that's 4 hours a day. So I will literally put a timer on my phone. So it's not just like, oh, I'll work from like 6 to 10. It's like, no, like if I devote from 6 to 10, but I go to the bathroom, like I pause my phone, use the restroom, come back. I'm like, I literally like 4 hours a day, I will be working on this. I've done it for 2 days, well, 2.5 starting today. I've done it for 2.5 days, and this is what I'm learning. Oh my gosh, 4 hours is a long time. You can get a lot done in 4 hours. Like 4 solid, like genuine hours. And it is just fascinating to see how my mind in 2.5 days has totally transformed from being like, year's over, everything's done, to being like, oh wow, in 10 hours, I've been able to freaking move the needle like crazy. And that's in 2.5 days. So I guess like my biggest lesson this week is just the biggest, I think, breakthrough this week is helping is my recognition that my superpower is also my greatest weakness in terms of planning, and that there is such power in being present in the actual day, and recognize that 4 hours is a lot of hours and you can get stuff done. And even though it's September, the end of September, it doesn't mean that it's the end of the year. So if you guys have goals that you've been working on, or that you're like, oh, I'm going to make this happen, but like I haven't really done it yet, or I'm only X amount percent toward that goal, I think there's like this really, really natural thing of us to be like, it's over, game over. My biggest like plea to you is to not give up on the goal, to double down, make the amount of offers you're making in a year down to a day, like our friend Myron says, to actually map out logistically, like, why has this not happened? I guarantee you it's due to not actually prioritizing where it's at, and make it happen the next 90 days. So if you guys are comfortable, I would love to hear in the comments below, like, what are your 90-day goals? Like, what are you going to make sure actually happens by the end of the year, December 31st, 11:59? Like, what are you going to have done? I'd love to hear about what what your game plan is, if there's anything I can do to help you along the way. But mostly, that's it for KATHRYN Convo. I'm sorry and you're welcome for a deep dive into my mind. See you next time.